Thrones had to get cut short in the second season after the actor who played him, Wilco Johnson, was diagnosed with cancer. I remember at the time, reports were saying it was terminal, but fortunately, Wilco fought through and is alive and well. Out of respect for him, his character wasn't recasted. So there's this mystery of what happened next to Ilyn Payne that a lot of show watchers never got solved.
Pardon me, sir. Did I frighten you so much, girl? Or is it him there making you shake? He frightens me too. Look at that face.
It isn't like he's the most important character in the series, but there are some vital moments that came in later in the books that flesh out some of the story and other characters' story arcs, mainly Jaime Lannister. The fact that Sir Ilyn has his tongue cut out really shows the cruelty of the Mad King. Ilyn clearly isn't the youngest character in the story, probably similar in age to Tywin. Around 30 years before the start of the story, he was Tywin Lannister's captain of guards in King's Landing, when Tywin was the hand of the king for Aerys Targaryen II, better known as the Mad King. So he must have been a capable fighter in his youth. Tywin and the king's relationship was horrible by 270 AC. The current story takes place around 300 AC for context. Tywin was doing all the real ruling because the Mad King was nuts and incompetent, and the entire realm knew it. House Payne are bannermen to the Lannisters in the Westerlands, and Ilyn was foolish enough to boast out loud that his liege lord was the true ruler of the Seven Kingdoms. When word got out to the cruel and jealous king, he had Ilyn's tongue ripped out with hot pincers. Even though he was a noble, Sir Ilyn must have strictly focused on martial training when he was growing up, because he never learned how to read or write. So without being able to speak really limits his ability to communicate. The punishment was kind of a jab to Tywin, since Ilyn was one of his men. The king was constantly doing this to his hand towards the end of their relationship, before Tywin had enough and returned to the Westerlands. After Robert Baratheon's rebellion successfully dethroned the Mad King, Robert decided to select Sir Ilyn as his king's justice as a gift to Tywin. The Lannister army was detrimental in the final moments of the war, because Tywin lied his way into the gates of King's Landing pretending to be an ally. The city fell to the rebellion without Robert even being present. Being the king's justice isn't the most glamorous of positions, however. Sir Ilyn isn't capable of doing any paperwork or reading reports. He was left to only one real job, being the crown's executioner. We never really know what's going on in his head, but he seemingly enjoys his strange job, a little too much. But it's clear he's a sad and lonely man. But who wouldn't be in his position? During all the years lopping people's heads off, he never botched an execution and never needed a second stroke. So everyone's pal Ned Stark went without suffering. Ilyn's appearance also inspired fear in almost everyone. He's described as having a pockmarked face and deep, colorless eyes with hollow cheeks. Everyone believes that he truly enjoys killing. A bunch of characters bring up their fear for the man, as well as Sir Barristan Selmy. The Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, whose nickname was the Bold, even feared this guy. In the fourth book, A Feast for Crows, Jaime goes to find him because he needs a trustworthy training partner so he can learn to fight with his left hand without anyone knowing how useless of a sword fighter he now is. He couldn't have his men discouraged and his enemies not fear the once legendary fighter, and I'm sure a lot has to do with his ego. Jaime didn't go to him first though. He first asked his childhood friend from the Westerlands to help him out, but his friend was way too good for him. An older man was more of a match for the crippled Jaime. This role would be taken over by Bronn in Game of Thrones, and even though Bronn was a fun character to watch on screen, there are some key moments missed out on. The place where Ilyn Payne had lived for 15 years. The chambers stank of rotted food, and the rushes were crawling with vermin. As Jaime entered, he almost trod upon a rat. Payne's greatsword rested on a trestle table, beside a whetstone and a greasy oilcloth. The steel was immaculate, the edge glimmering blue in the pale light, but elsewhere piles of soiled clothing were strewn about the floors, and the bits of mail and armor scattered here and there were red with rust. Jaime could not count the broken wine jars. The man cares for naught but killing, he thought. Sir Ilyn emerged from a bedchamber that reeked of overflowing chamber pots. His grace bids me win back his riverlands, Jaime told him. I would have you with me if you cared to give up all this. Silence was his answer, and a long, unblinking stare. But just as he was about to turn and take his leave, Payne had given him a nod, and here he rides. Jaime glanced at his companion. Perhaps there is yet hope for the both of us. Jaime thinks of him as the perfect companion for a long ride. He's grown tired of everyone, and says he enjoys his silent conversation. On their journey to the Riverlands, Ilyn Payne somehow turned into Jaime's therapist. Tyrion had told Jaime all the other men Cersei was sleeping with, and it was beginning to have an effect on him. He looked at the woman he loved as a liar and was beginning to hate her. Falling out of love with her was making him act more rational now. He was becoming a better man and a better commander in the war. Ilyn was still a better fighter than Jaime with his left hand. The only form of communication he made with Jaime was a strange clacking sound he made with his mouth. Jaime soon realized it was Ilyn laughing at him. This made Jaime's stomach twist. With Ilyn not being able to speak, read, or write, Jaime felt comfortable to let out his darkest secrets. Things never revealed to any other character or to us readers. In the 30th chapter of A Feast for Crows, Jaime's 4th POV chapter, he says, "Do you see that window, sir?" Jaime used a sword to point. That was Raymond Darry's bedchamber, where King Robert slept on a return from Winterfell. Ned Stark's daughter had run off after her wolf savaged Joff, you recall. My sister wanted the girl to lose a hand, the old penalty for striking one of the blood royal. Robert told her she was cruel and mad. They fought for half a night, while Cersei fought and Robert drank. Past midnight, the queen summoned me inside. The king was passed out snoring on the mirrorish carpet. I asked my sister if she wanted me to carry him to bed. She told me I should carry her to bed and shrugged out of her robe. I took her on Raymond Darry's bed after stepping over Robert. If his grace had woken up, I would have killed him there and then. He would not have been the first king to die upon my sword. But you know that story, don't you? He slashed at a tree branch, shearing it in half. As I was fucking her, Cersei cried, "I want." I thought she meant me, but it was a Stark girl that she wanted, maimed or dead. The things I do for love. It was only by chance that Stark's own men found the girl before me. If I had come on her first. The pockmarks on Sir Ilyn's face were black holes in the torchlight, as dark as Jaime's soul. He made that clacking sound. He's laughing at me, Jaime realized. "For all I know, you fucked my sister too, you pock-faced bastard," he spat out. "Well, shut your bloody mouth and kill me if you can." He not only admits to sleeping with Cersei, which wasn't much of a secret before this point. Everyone pretty much knew or joked about it. But the Lannister twins would never admit it, because it would mean their heads, along with their children's, for treason. But he also confesses to Ilyn about being ready to kill Robert Baratheon if the moment came, and harm or possibly kill Arya simply because Cersei desired it. This growing hate for Cersei and regret for his past actions, along with his redemption arc he's going through in the Riverlands, is doing a lot for his character development. Other characters are beginning to notice the bruises on Jaime from all the times Sir Ilyn has beat his ass. Jaime would pretend the bruises were from lusty women to hide what he was doing, but everyone's beginning to catch on to him, though he's not too worried as long as they don't know how bad of a lefty fighter he truly is. This is the last time we see these two in the books so far, but it's very likely we won't get any more training moments since Jaime was just reunited with Brienne and she's trapping him into meeting with a zombie Catelyn Stark. If that last sentence didn't convince you to check out the books, nothing will. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be back with something else to talk about soon. Thanks for watching.